and we just start working on it because they're supporting it.
Yeah, I'm waiting
That's how. I mean, that's how they
for
get you. They
some map.
slowly make
Anyways,
the older stuff a worse experience, so then makes you.
the thing is, the thing is, usually though, they don't. They usually will. With farm sim, they usually actually make the game cheaper and the old version cheaper.
Yeah.
And like if you have Game Pass on Xbox or whatever PlayStation's version is, they make it so it's all free. So then you start playing it, and then you get addicted to it. But
Well,
then again, we're about a year into this now.
but they also, you know, again, kind of in shitify it. So to just it's kind of like Spotify or the free versions of any platform is they they do that. They make it work so you can use it, but they make it just a little bit frustrating, either ads or the interface, and it's like, oh, you want ad free or you want this, pay us, or it's like now streaming, they just put ad, even though you're paying for it, now you're watching ads again. It's like, okay, that's just cable again. It's finally caught up with the world. Took them this long to realize, oh, everybody's cutting the cable. Well, and plus they're not making it streaming, even with that.
I don't. I'm interested in knowing what map they must have pulled this from because I just heard another. Let's see. I I just heard a. I've heard sounds in the field that are nothing to do. I just passed a babbling brook in the middle of this field,
Huh.
and then I was doing another contract in a field or two over, and you hit an area that you could hear voices
Hmm.
like they so they've had to have pulled this map from like the base of the map from another map, and they didn't get it completely cleared.
Oh, yeah. I guess I don't have my sound effects up enough. I guess I should just it would probably add a little more. I don't
So
have my
it,
sound
so
effects up just so it isn't so annoying like when we're talking.
it was weird because it was like heard these voices, but they didn't, they weren't making any sense, so to speak. So it's just like it sounded like a crowded beer hall. That's what it
Oh,
sounded like, and I was like, what the heck?
actually, maybe while I'm good for me, get where the settings are. Maybe I'll turn it just a little. That's why I would add the music on. Environment volume. I'll do. I'll turn it. Yeah, that's a little. Yeah, because I kind of want to hear it too. There we go. That sort of adds a little bit of extra atmosphere.
I already know. When you get 25, I already know what I wanted to first. It was actually a map in 22 that I wanted to play, and we just never got around to doing it.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I figured we'd give it a rest in the beginning just because we've already played it on 22. But eventually, I'll want to do Alma. It's already been released and
Oh, okay.
stuff. There's
So they've got
there's
some
a
more stuff out to. Okay.
yeah they got some stuff out. Yeah, there was this one map I wanted to play. Actually, it would be a good starting map to kind of get used to things for you. Uh, it was actually it's a remake of a map. Was it on 15? And it's a good American map, and it's just kind of spread out because back then they they didn't just not giants and make things so that you didn't have ditches, you didn't have things interfering to get into the field and stuff. They took the obstacles kind of out, so it was a lot easier to play. But it's got an American kind of feel to it.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. I forget where we're dumping this. Is it just down the road on the ground or something? Isn't it?
That is that pit one, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's just down the road here, like behind that building. Or yeah, it's like on the ground or whatever. I think fences. Forgot you gotta go around like the back or something.
Yeah,
Why in the world they would? It's it like kind of hard to get back here.
you say
Well,
that,
it's
but it
not,
kind
but
of
it's
always it's kind of reminded me of like the Stanford elevator in a way.
well, it kind of is. Well, that's the thing. Rip City used to be like that when you had to do it in their elevator along the tracks. They had their big pit, and eventually, and like as trucks got bigger, they couldn't like you couldn't turn there.
Well, it's like this reminds me of ground pit at the Stanford elevator.
Yeah. Well, in order,
It was kind of off the road a little bit. It was away from the scale. It was kind of behind some buildings and stuff, and it was not like you couldn't get there. It's just a little bit of a crossing into it and crossing tracks and all this stuff.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing at Alma. They now they got it. They dump a lot of it on, and you got to go up in that uh open area that's right next to. Yeah, you got to go. Of course, the tracks are abandoned now. You got to go across the tracks and up there, and then you wait. And I mean, I'm just saying that like here, they got a fence and a small narrow way to get in. I mean, like in real life, that would be terrible to try to say send a semi.
you, you hit a telephone pole in the middle
Yeah.
of the. Well, my annual. It started my to be. It's starting to become my annual golfing trip with. I don't know if you've met this friend. Uh, we met. Me and him met through a friend that I used to work at the gas station with that since passed away. And he, me and this guy, we always got kind of we always got along. It started with games and hockey, like video games and hockey,
Yeah.
and we've just always we kept in touch after our mutual friend passed away. And anyways, this year I posted a. It was the last. It would have been the last year that I was at Chief. I posted a picture of the last time I went golfing, which would have been when I went with the engineering group out to Aurora Dunes. And that was like 2 weeks before. That was literally 2 weeks before I quit, because we did that on like a Thursday or Friday, and then the next day, which would have been Monday, I put my 2 weeks in. But anyways, I posted like I hadn't been golfing for like 8 years. I kind of miss it because I just it's not something I want to get into league. It's something I just like to do for fun and
Yeah.
not serious about it. But I have the clubs. I've spent money on clubs. My great uncle got me into it in high school, and you know. Anyways, um, so my friend said last year, he's like, hey, he goes, if you haven't been golfing and you want to go, he goes, I got a golf cart and everything. He goes, I'll take you golfing. So we went golfing last year, and then I messaged him. I kind of planned things out with him this year a little bit better, a little bit, so it wasn't so spontaneous. And I said, I asked if we could go this week, and he said yes. So we went out today. I think well, it's obvious, obviously I don't golf enough, so I'm not great at it. But the more um, tees that we hit, the better I got with my driver and
Well,
stuff.
that's the thing, you kind of get in groove. I mean, I used to like to go to the driving range and and, and over back in the day, and most of yeah, we would we would go to do Alma's course a little bit. Green fees were so cheap, and I think somebody had a cart that they allowed us to borrow. Might have been his uncle or something like that, or but yeah, I mean, we did so many other things. It's like I didn't have time to go around golf, but I could see myself getting into it if I didn't do this other.
Yeah, maybe it's, it's a little bit because I've been in billion leagues, so I kind of know. I mean, I obviously don't know what a golf league is like, but I have something to kind of reference.
Yeah,
I I suppose if I played it, I would probably be at least in practice and stuff. But I also know that would be a commitment. I don't know if I want to. I've never really wanted to make it in the summertime, and
yeah. You want to keep it open for other
I
things.
and the thing is, like in league, it was a commitment. Sometimes really hard to keep, even because like yeah, our league was always in the winter, so during the cold months when it was a nice way to get out of the house and stuff, but the season is so long, and um
Yeah.
usually it starts about this time of year, and it's like but it's not it's the end of summer yet, and it just yeah, I don't know if I'd I think the only thing different would be like when you get done with golf league, unless you go sit in the clubhouse at the end of the night, which I'm sure a lot of those people probably do. I mean, I'm sure if they have to go do something, they probably don't. But at the end of the night, they probably go hang out with the guys, so to speak, and talk golf or talk how their game was, or
Yeah.
um. But if you didn't do that, I suppose by the time you get done, it would you'd be still driving home in daylight, and it'd be all right.
Yeah.
Last year, so I have this. It wouldn't be a legal driver for league. Um, it's just kind of it was a thing they sold at Kmart, which isn't around obviously anymore. But it's an oversized driver. Um, just basically it's made so like if you're just like me having fun or whatever, it can launch the ball for you pretty easily.
Yeah.
Um, and last year I lost the I thought I had the cover in a safe spot where we ended up bouncing it off the cart, and then someone behind us picked it up. So when we went back to go look for it, we couldn't find it. And then they didn't put it. They didn't. They kind of must have forgot it was in their cart for like a day or two before they finally put it in lost and found. Before my friend found it, but this year I was like I had to make sure that I I didn't do that again.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Well, I don't have any clubs here, but the clubs we used to use were actually like a 3 wood was actually wood, and the driver was actually wood. It wasn't new graphite things or anything. Time,
See, that's
but
what
but I
we're
just but still
talking about.
enjoyed it.
That's what we were talking about was is my clubs. He was actually he was actually like see he didn't care for how my clubs were, but he was like between each hole I was getting ready to take my next shot or um whatever I was taking my next hit. He was cleaning my clubs because he's like his OCD was like he's like man he goes I know you only play once a year but he goes this is driving me nuts. And he asked me he was like well I know because I do so I up until the last couple years I was at Chief, I was playing with the steels. I didn't even have graphite. I had a steel shaft set that I bought from Pomida
Yeah.
for like $100 back in the day. And so, they were at the time they were probably 20 years old. I figured. Well, he we I found I decided that I wanted to upgrade, so I found a used set of graphites that were decently priced, and
Yeah.
I figured they were better than what I had and whatnot. So I bought them because they're used. They didn't have every club in the set, and so like my pitching wedge is still the original steel shaft. I'm missing, I think, a club or two still. And so after last year, I went on Amazon and was like, okay, well, I need to add this to my list and list to my list and whatnot. Well, he was asking me then today. He's like, so you added these clubs to your list? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, if it's been a year and that's the end of this season, they ought to be cheaper. And I'm like, well, yeah, you think so, but I'm also like not very quick about buying stuff on my list. I have like, I
Well,
think
you'll
I have
see if they
five
drop the
different.
price though, like with Amazon.
I have like five different lists on Amazon because I have everything sorted out by like I need this now, I need this later, this can wait.
Well, I have mine by like
And there's
garage
like
items and then actual like wish list, and then there's gift stuff, which
so my list originally started with uh, my sister wanted to do a she's like it'd be so much easier if we just do wish lists on Amazon because then that way you could pick out what you want
yeah,
and I could get you something that you want. So that's where it originally started. Well, then I found
I'm
out
gonna
I was
go
like,
empty.
well, there's some things I just don't want as a gift. It's like I just would like to buy eventually. So then I made like a secret. I don't want to say secret, but I made a list that's private that no one else can see. That is like, okay, this is stuff that would be nice to eventually get, but they don't. I don't need them this second, and then I ended up like adding stuff in there. That list got too long, and there's stuff on there that I needed. Maybe I need, right up, sooner than later, and
Yeah,
they're not always staying at the top because they're getting mixed in with other things. I had to create another list of things that I need to get.
yeah,
I ended up with like I've got like five different lists going, but they're all sorted. So
yeah. Well, got you because there's like kid stuff or what. Then I have again a lot of my garage items are cheap consumable things, so depending on like paintbrushes, something like that, dirt cheap, things like that. And so those just perpetually stay in there because I want to remember, either that brand or that seller or this or, you know, that kind of stuff.
did you go and you must have went to the
Yeah, I was well, I'm over 70% on the other ones. Well, I'll just yeah, thinking about it, you mentioned Pomida, kind of, and not that we had that kind of store close out here, all stuff in the area. Um, like especially traveling or when we go back there, and I'm kind of miss those stores, the Alco and the Pomida and that kind of stuff. That I guess I don't know, mid-range department store kind of stuff.
okay, so
Because sometimes they would have
Pomida was
unique seasonal stuff.
nice.
Well, and big. Well, I tell you what, out here, I miss. Not that we ever bought a lot of stuff, but I miss Big Lots because I missed going in there and just seeing what more of the seasonal stuff. I mean, towards the end there, got homogenized, like, just the regular stuff, so you wouldn't see like, like the Christmas stuff, or just like your birthday or whatever. That's where I would find a lot of times, find that.
Yeah.
But that's where I would find a lot of that kind of stuff, just little, I guess I call it unique gift stuff. I mean, like Walmart's fine because it always has certain things, but
You can stay on the other side
the
because
inventory doesn't rotate. So like if you're like trying to look for something unique for somebody, or a different, less, I mean, obviously, like the clothes stuff, fashion change, need a certain kind of shirt, and you just, Walmart's gonna have something, you know uh, if you needed a dress shirt, or something real quick, you'll have that. That's great, that's fine. But again, it was mostly like, you know again, Big Lots, when they would, have more like that overstocked inventory stuff. You'd see stuff, brands or whatever, foodstuffs, or just anything that was something you'd never, you'd never seen before. Not It was kind of a regional thing. You'd see like some kind of thing that was popular in the East Coast or something, or West Coast, show up, and you know and even though I didn't buy a lot, but it was kind of fun during the whole energy drink wars. Just, you go in there and you'd always find a different one, something different. That's where I got half of that stuff, and they were like, 50 cents a can. So it's like, okay, buy a can. It tastes like garbage. Your first sip, throw it away. You're only out 50 cents.
Yeah.
Or different sodas, or just other drink things like that. Candy, junk food. No, you buy as a treat. Don't eat a lot of junk food, but occasionally, you want, you know, moderation is okay. Kind of. Yeah, I miss Big Lots for that. Had, like I said, rotating in.
What I do, it was nice back when we were in high school. The one I missed though is probably Shopko, because Shopko was probably one of those. It was, the clothing was kind of hip, and on current trends and stuff. Their seasonal stuff was pretty neat. And then you could still get the other stuff that you needed. If you needed, like, say, your earphones that you needed for your, well, back then, for the cell phone or the Walkman or CD player or whatever, like,
Yeah,
say you could run there real quick and get a $10 to $16 pair and get you by it, or at least until you could get something better.
yeah. Well, actually, Big Lots was kind of good. In modern day, kind of good for that. I bought my earbuds there, because they were $5, and they actually weren't. Sound quality wasn't wasn't half bad for. I mean, for $5, not. They were a little bassy, but they weren't tinny. I guess if they were okay, and like, I bought ones for work, and then I had ones, I'd have by the bed, so, or whatever, and you know the jostling around, they lasted about, I don't know, half 2 years or better, of especially the work ones, of daily use. And so I thought that's pretty good for $5, because I guarantee you that a $20 pair isn't gonna last really any longer, because what fails is the connections, for the, from you tugging on them, even if you're careful. It's the move around of the wire all
Mm-hmm.
breaks inside the plastic housing and cut now. And actually, there's a pair of wireless ones. Bought them kind of on a whim, and they might have been $20, but and again, they're not AirPods. They're not, great. The most premium sound, but they're not. That's the thing. They're not hot garbage. They actually have a decent battery life. Pay to use them. Have them in or one podcast or a lot of times. And again, battery life has been pretty good as far as charge cycles and that stuff. Those get used, several times a week. Some people are, and that's where you should probably spend money. But it wasn't bad stuff. They kind of miss it because, otherwise now for just cheap, inexpensive wired earbuds, it's Walmart or Target essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Or Amazon, but again, you don't know. But when you just need it and you don't want to wait for shipping, it's Walmart or Target. And I don't know. Had to buy some skull candies, or I don't know. They're not expensive, and they're half decent, but I just feel like they aren't the same value because I know they aren't. They aren't going to last any longer than the $5. And like the Amazon with that stuff, you can get garbage stuff.
Yep.
But stuff like that, unless it's just really almost kind of a consumable electronic item, don't like to buy on. It's some made up brand, team, Chinese. I mean, but I mean, it's kind of like, it's, well, which one do you choose? I guess you choose the cheapest, but then, because it's all probably about the same. But you can never find, if you did get a good pair off of Amazon, say like a $7 pair or something, you'll never, it's almost like you'll never find them again. Yeah. Or be able to find that exact one worked good. It's always a cheap. Even though you're definitely paying a markup at Target, they probably the cheapest brand you can get there on brand in that, but it's probably the skull candy, and again, they're fine, but I feel like I'm overpaying for what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It just seemed like $5. They were, and they always had the same quote brand. Of course, all I even forget, but it was all the same. So even after broke in 2 years or whatever, I knew I could get the same one. I get the same audio, which again I deemed acceptable. Just again, I did buy some on Amazon or even at a truck stop, and they were tinny. Paid like $10. I know I should have got $10, but bucks is $10, especially. I can't get freaking straight. Probably I'm not concentrating. I don't know. I guess there's my rant on earbud. I dread having to buy them because I just don't know what I'm going to get quality wise. And I'm talking wired stuff here. I want wired. I don't
Oh,
wireless ones. Katie likes them, of course, because she's bouncing around. But I almost never use them because I'm never going to be close to Bluetooth thing that I got it hooked up to. And like in the garage, I want through my quote system, but I kind of, it's my bookshelf system from college. Plus, I added a sub, so it sounds nice. And I just want to have it. I have something stuck in my ear and then have to remember to charge. It's mostly the remember to charge.
Mm-hmm.
I know people get in the habit, they put them in the case, always ready to go, or daily. But I'm not. So I'm always worried. I love battery tools, but it's the same thing. It's like after I use the tool, I just stick it right on the charger. Then I forget to take it off the charger. I know it stops. Like, if I don't remember to put it on, it'll be dead the next time. I've gotten into the habit, but I don't want to have to do that for a, quote, like, convenience item. Like earbuds, I guess. I guess that's one of those things where I'm just can't get. Just give me a wire. You plug it in, and they work. They're gonna work. And then the whole tapping, the turn them on, turn them off. This isn't worth it to me.
Well, yeah. I bought a really nice pair for the gym. And
well, that's
it's
different.
Been one
you
of
kind
the
of
things I was going while I was there.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be different. You'll get into a routine of you got your charge case right in the, in like the cup holder or something. They're always going to be in there. And
I keep it in my gym.
Well, or that, or whatever. And you're always going to put them back in. So you're probably always going to charge.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, well, what if they don't? Well, and then I want to just turn my music on and start playing. I don't want to have to, I guess you probably get used to pairing them. I guess that's part of the other deal. I hate pairing them. Like I have a Bluetooth adapter thing for the car, but I barely use that, like coming and going, because sitting there turning, well, and I know some people just leave their Bluetooth on and that stuff all on, so it just automatically hooks up. Well, I don't, because it drains battery, and I'm not using it that so frequently that I just leave it on.
No.
I mean, it's kind of like location. Like I don't use GPS hardly. I don't need it. I know where I'm going most places. So like it's a hassle to have to. I mean, I do it when I have to, but it's a hassle to use it. But shoot, some people, of course, they're using Waze, but some people are using GPS daily just to go to work, and it's like just take a normal route and just slow one day, it's slow, you know.
And grade repacks. How are you guys tonight?
Good, you got somebody in on your stream. I don't have it.
Gold rated me.
Oh, good. Okay. Let's see. Well, you're on YouTube, or are you on Twitch?
Yeah. No, on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. Didn't know you could raid.
Thanks for the subscription. I am doing good. How are you? Thank you. Yeah, Junkman and I are working in Australia on this map.
Yeah, I'm unloading right now, so back in the picture here.
Gold says that you need to turn your raid permissions on.
Road permit.
The road. RAID.
Oh. Guess I don't know how to do that.
I'm doing good. We typically we bounce around the maps. We've got like 4 of them going.
Yeah, we
Um,
just move around and then
so
sometimes,
we're always kind of doing something different.
yeah, I kind of like this map because it's big fields.
Um, so Bucks County. Oh, I thought I changed that in the title. I guess not. So Bucks County, I played that last week, and it keeps crashing on me. Um, I'm thinking it's a mod, so I'm trying to figure it out which one it is. But I'm pretty sure I must have not. I must not got the change in tonight. We're playing. We're playing an Australian map tonight. Big fields.
Yeah, I like them because they take a couple of streams to do. So, like I said, we'll probably rotate back around in about a month on this field.
Well,
And
when we did it's, potato harvest on Elma, Missouri, and we were playing that map, solely that map. I think it took us like 8 streams,
yeah,
2 hours a stream to before we finally got that one done.
yeah. Let's see. And well, I will say next week may or may not stream. It just depends on um, this the big motorcycle show is next Saturday, and I gotta still got some bikes to work on that, clean up, parts to replace. So I guess I'll just tell you right now, I'll be a little off and on or iffy next week, because it just depends on if I gotta
I,
scramble for something, scramble to finish up something. But I should get it all done. Actually, I should get it all done weekend or actually like on Tuesday or yeah Tuesday. Took that day off for another reason, but I'll have time to work on. Like so well, actually, you might have caught part of the archive. Because I did stream some of it. Way out, I have. But yeah, I did one of my restoration streams. That went pretty well. Archived, it's getting some, always nice. And maybe one of these nights, because I'll definitely be working on it tomorrow night. So maybe I'll pop it, put it on. I'm polishing chrome, and I got a lot of it on this one. Like,
All right, have a good night, Gold.
Or when it gets started.
I'm trying to clip off the end.
No, I know what you're doing. Hard for me. I'm staying under. It straightens out.
Mhm. Tomorrow we're having uh, tacos at work. The owners are
Fine. Actually,
buying.
they're doing that next week. That's a kind of a
Well, it was funny you say meeting. So I want to say the mandatory tacos.
okay. Yeah.
The reason I have mandatory tacos is so they told us last week. They didn't tell a lot of the shop people, and we found out. But they told us last week that they were going to do this, and we kept asking about when they were going to put a flyer out, and the gal said that she didn't have permission to put the flyer out. The owner told her she couldn't do it. And then finally, to this morning, he came up to her and he said, "Okay, now you can put the flyer out." Well, she put the flyer. It said Friday afternoon, Taco Day, and then it says mandatory meeting to follow. And we're like, oh, what is going on with this mandatory meeting? Well, then our supervisor, so to speak, I say that because he really only just runs our time card. He doesn't really supervise us. But anyways, he told us that they did that because if they want to let us go early at noon, but if they told us that they were going to leave early at noon, no one would stick around for the tacos.
Oh.
So they want you to show up for the tacos, and then they're letting you have the rest of the afternoon off after tacos.
Oh. See,
So that's
they
why I'm
usually
calling up.
on these all company deals they feed you before the meeting so they get maximum participation. I mean, it's a big like people are on certain people come over the premise. I'm not really sure why they do it. I look.
Good night, Lisa. Yeah, so that's why I want to call them mandatory tacos, because they're well, and to be really honest about what's actually going on is bought a they bought their cows from 4-H last week, and they're at the I don't want to say packing plant. They're at the butcher right now. So what the tacos are really about is they're just trying to get rid of anything that they had left over from last year's cow,
Okay.
and that's part of the reason why they want us all there too, because they want us to eat up the leftover meat. It's just, you feel like what's going on. It's the whole thing is just sort of messed up, but it's also like you don't want to complain because they're actually doing something a
Yeah.
little bit, too. But it's a little like construed.
Well,
Yeah, because
that's kind of funny that's why they why tacos specifically, you know.
so I can't speak to the years before. Last year, I think also part of last year was we were supposed to be doing. I think it was the 40th year the 40th year they'd been in business, and so they wanted to do an anniversary. Originally, we were supposed to do this picnic at this camp place, but because we had that secretary that stole hundreds of thousands
Yeah.
of dollars, obviously we don't know exactly what they had in the account or what they didn't have in the account, but anyways, all that stuff got canceled. So then they never had the anniversary, and we ended up uh, we ended up with a taco party last year, which was it, it was good. I mean, like I said, I'm not complaining about it. I'm not complaining that we're getting free tacos.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious to me though how everything comes together.
Uh,
So then we were asking if like the second shift has to come in because they're not even scheduled to be there at that point in time, and we're all because we're getting a shorter day, we're all getting paid technically
yeah.
to for I think it's really only like 2 hours that we're taking off really, but so we're like do these do the poor second shift guys they have to drive into work thinking that they're to a mandatory meeting.
But just most
Just
so they got to get up when they normally want to be sleeping to go eat tacos. Yeah.
so bad if they actually have to. Weekend shift, I mean, they do work on Friday, so the weekend shift will already be there. But the second shift guys don't get there till like two or no, they get there at three, if I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's right. They wouldn't be sleeping, but I mean, it would.
It'd be late enough in the day. Those guys, they work. I think our second shift works 3 to 11, or no, 3 to 1.
Okay. I don't know. At times, like, a second shift might be, you know, might be, I don't know, say, different. But then it's kind of like man, it would take a while to get used to that schedule, and then then when you have people work more regular, kind of hard to coordinate.
During the recession, I worked They called it second shift because they didn't have a third shift, but it would have technically been what normal people would have had for a third shift. I think it was 5 to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it'd
And
just be weird to be sleeping through the morning. Like, I don't know that I could do.
for me, the only reason it worked for me was because you got off at 1, you got off in the morning, and no, it had to have been later than that. It had to have been more like 3 or something. Because I can remember getting home, it must have been about 4 o'clock, and basically I just mixed my. So I get home and I would eat breakfast. So I'd make myself a waffle or something,
Yeah.
and then I would go to bed, and then I would wake up in time to have lunch, and then I'd go do whatever I needed to for about 4 hours because basically I didn't have an evening, so I do what I normally do in the evening, and then
Yeah.
then I go to work for the night. So I mean, it's a little jumbled up, but it was doable.
Well,
We
that's the
were
thing. You
talking
just have to. The only, I mean, the one nice thing sort of about it could be if you had stuff to, errands or whatever to do that, you know, and I my mind immediately goes to banking, but not just that, because but stuff where it'd be less people because almost everybody's working at the.
Well, we're talking about our third shift today, weekend shift today, because they get paid for a 40-hour week, but they only put 36 hours in on a weekend, and um, they work. Let's see, they work. I think they work 12-hour days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we were talking about how their holidays were messed up because they get holidays, but instead of getting all 12 hours, they only get 8 because that's what everybody else gets is 8. So they still have to come in and put 4 hours in to get, so the paychecks aren't short.
Yeah.
But then we were talking about how because they don't have to go to work till um, Friday, they don't start their work day week until Friday. They have Monday through Thursday off. That would be so nice because if they that would be nice in the sense of like if you need to run to the DMV or if you needed to
Yeah.
go to the doctor or something like that. That would be you could schedule around it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess as a younger me, I wouldn't. I could do that kind of schedule. I mean, I'd do it if I had to. Absolutely had to. Meant to make ends meet and stuff like that. I guess I would.
Yeah.
Because there was a time while there was, oh, could I find a second job afterwards, and I'd get.
I think the only second job I could do ever again would probably be working at the Buckle again, because that job was working in the e-commerce warehouse was actually it was it was different from the office job, obviously, and then it was once you figured out how things ran and how like this is how you do it so that you can go faster, like the job was a breeze
Yeah.
for the most part. I mean, you'd run into few little things here and there, but for the most part, it was pretty easy peasy. The only bad part about that job is you just didn't get much in pay. Like you worked. I can't remember if I worked 1 or 2 evenings, and then you'd work every other weekend, and I think the paycheck was only about like 200 or 250, and it was like basically,
Worth it.
yeah, basically was this worth it? Because basically it was 100, 125 a week, which um, it's like kind of, is this all, or I don't know, but it served its purpose at the time, so because I needed it, and it was kind of nice compared to the liquor store that I didn't have to work every weekend unless I asked for the weekend off.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about retail, and I've never done it. Hope to never have to do it, but I, I, I don't know. I guess I would. Well, retail. I'd want to do like stocking. Good.
So I mean, so it's just like you post the people online, and then if you weren't doing that, you were restocking the shelves, and then after the new year, they kept everybody long enough to do inventory to make sure that the inventory was still all right.
Yeah.
Do you play Farm Sim? I guess what map do you play, or what map are you playing right now? I mean, as like what one are you most interested in right now? At the moment on 25, I am on most interested in the Louisiana map. I've been kind of bouncing around. I haven't really found a map that I can 100% dig my teeth into. But Louisiana has been a good, um, been going good. So oh, I get burned out on it from time to time. I started in let's see, I started playing 13. Now, when I say I started playing 13, 15 was out because I was usually always, at that time, I was always a generation behind in console and games. Um, but I would go through periods where I'd play and then I'd stop for like 3 months and play something else, and then I'd come back to it. Um, Now that I've on PC, I don't do that so much. At the end of 25, I was getting, or 22, I was getting burned out of all that. Probably hear the puppies. I am babysitting my sister's dog this weekend. She likes to bark at anything that goes around the street. Oh, nice. Xbox One.
Console.
Yeah.
Been a while since you probably fired yours up. Something dying to play.
So, yeah, my console I haven't. I've completely switched over to the PC now. Um, my sister's dog is an Australian Shepherd Healer mix. My dog is a. They told me it was like a. The other mix part is a Chihuahua. It's another cattle dog, but she doesn't have any characteristics of that other dog. So as far as like coloring or anything, she definitely has the healer in her. You can see because she's an all black dog with a blue, except for the blue chest. So you can definitely see the blue healer in her, and she has the attitude of a blue healer. She's a she's a bully. Yeah, they are. Both of ours are very well behaved dogs for the most part. My dog though is slightly jealous because she doesn't get to have me to herself for pets or for tonight.
Because we're
But for the
streaming.
most part, they get along like sisters. What'd you say?
Because we're streaming, that's
Oh, yeah. Well, and I opened the windows because it's fairly decent out, so instead of running the AC or anything, I opened the windows and the door. So my sister's dog was just looking out on the street, and that's why she was barking because she saw um the neighbor's friend leaving the neighbors. I used to have a Rottweiler till he was 12, which is old for a Rottweiler. Actually, I was just talking to my golfing friend tonight, because they have one at the animal shelter, and I I'm to the point now where like mine's been gone long enough and stuff that I'm uh would be willing to get another one. Doesn't remind me so much of my old one. I don't know. Healed is probably the better word. I've healed from losing my first one, and I saw this one at the shelter, and I'm like, I kind of don't want another dog. I don't want two vet bills, but I do want to get another Rottweiler. Yeah, you're Your PC monitor is broken? Oh, nice. He has a Yorkie. Oh, nice. How long do uh how long do Yorkies live? I think that my current dog was probably going to be about 14 years, I think, average wise. And well, it's a good guess on how old she is. I think I think we have her estimated at 7, but the people I bought her, the people I adopted her from, um, they told us that she was a year old, and my sister, who was a vet tech, thinks that she was a bit older than that. So
I just have cats. A cat.
just the one cat.
Just the one cat.
I,
I haven't. I kind of like just.
oh, nice. My Roddy, he had hip problems. I think if I wouldn't have because I had him neutered young, and I kept his weight down. I kept him on a very restrictive diet. I didn't let him get a. I didn't overfeed him. Um, I think that was because he in later in life he had hip issues and he had arthritis and he was allergic to grass and anyways the arthritis really at the end made it really hard for him to get around the house, so to speak. What color of pit bull, or does it matter um or does color matter? Because I know there's blueies and doesn't matter. I have a guy I work with, our bend press operator. Um, he think he rescues pit bulls. He's got, I want to say he's got 15 of them, or he's got kennel space for 15 of them. Um, he even has a, he even keeps a camera on the kennel, and he has it set up so that his phone goes off every time someone enters the kennel. He's really into his pit bulls. He also has a Rowdy. He brought his Rowdy in to work one day. I had to ask him where he got it and everything. So we had a conversation about it. Never had a beagle. We had growing up had a, I'd call it a Scotty. That dog, I got I got him because someone there's a